If you think about the parallel, the church was the first one to wage a war on drugs.
That is absolutely right.
This kind of coming of age process, taking psychoactive drugs, was around the whole world at that time.
Knowledge is within. The real ultimate knowledge is within.
Eating the apple was gaining knowledge.
Women in their own right were like the most early version of scientists, actually, because women were the most receptive to nature.
All of a sudden, you know, that you find your identity floating outside of your physical reality, and then you have to look around and go, where am I?
Once you know the truth of who you really are.
Experiences beyond the physical normal realm, that they were gaining knowledge of another realm of our existence, the real spiritual experience, not reading about it, but experiencing it. Well, of course, there's an issue about this, is if you're trying to control a population and all of a sudden they start to identify who they really are in regard to spiritual entities, then all of a sudden the idea of control is well, I'm excited because, you know, the book Spontaneous Evolution, which describes the nature of civilization's evolution that I wrote about, we didn't go far enough back in that book to talk about something that was so profoundly important in how it shapes today's civilization. And that going back is to when did what we call modern humans step out of the shadow of a proto-human, and what made that difference? It has been suggested by researchers and scientists alike that somewhere along the line, early humans were eating psychoactive drugs like magic mushrooms or something like that. And that this experience gave them an introduction to another realm of life, the energy, the spirit realm. And I go, what is that? And I say, well, power mongers are the ones that want to take the power and centralize the power. I say, but there's a credo, there's a way that they can do that. And I say, what is it? And it's interesting because it's a repetitive pattern that plays through nature. And it says, give them something to fear and then sell them the resolution, sell them the antidote, sell them how they could save themselves. So you give them the fear, and then you offer for a fee how they can, you know, avoid that fear. So, for example, the idea came up a few hundred years AD that there's a hell. And there's a place in the earth, and people go there and can't get out, and it's a whole horrible story of hell, which was then even made worse when Dante wrote his book on the Inferno and illustrated it with the 7 layers of hell, with, you know, these pictures that would scare the hell out of you, and then all of a sudden hell became even more real because now there were pictures of it. And I say, so what was the point? Well, the church said, yeah, there's a hell, but we, the church, we can save you. Hey, is avoid that apple, avoid these drugs. And they outlawed them, but the point about it was these drugs were also really being studied scientifically in universities and in medical schools and psychology departments, because these drugs have a very profound effect on the human psyche and the human life in general. And so researchers reveal things like neurological disturbances such as drug addiction or alcoholism,
depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, as we know, knowledge is power. We all say that. That's a truism. But we have to understand something. There was an evolution of power. It didn't just start with knowledge, but knowledge came in before the full evolution of power. And I go, knowledge, yes, through what? Through the drink that the people were sharing at Eleusis. And I say, so what was relevant is that there was simultaneously an evolution of power in our civilization. And I say, well, there were 3 levels of power. The first and most primitive level of power is something that you consider in the cartoons as the caveman with the big club. And the point about it was what? Is that the biggest, strongest character was the leader of the group, because who's going to challenge that person? And so the leader was based on his physical prowess, that he could, you know, empower and take over other people because of his sheer strength. Now, well, that caveman people time, days like that. But Another power arose over time as evolution started building up, and that was the power of resources. Whoever could control resources could turn that into money and power and energy and exchange it for behavior. So basically, the one who controlled the resources could actually, quote unquote, pay the big guy with the club. They were at the behest of the guy who had the resources, okay? And that's what, led to a whole new level of evolution and power. Who is that person? Who are those people that owned all that? And they become the kings. They own the land, and they think that you want to work, you got to work for the king. And then all of a sudden the king sets the rules and all this. But then came the real evolutionary jump of what power is all about. And that power is simply this. That power is the power of knowledge, because the one with knowledge had the information of how to survive, live in the world, control their environment, be empowered over their lives, and they could use that knowledge and that wisdom to get the support of all the other people, even the people with the resources. Well, the greatest control of power